Hello, and welcome to Sports Update. We'll be looking at the latest sports news from around the region and beyond. I'm Braden Parks.
We'll also look at college football across the nation and check out the latest happenings in all pro sports. I'm Colin Hill, and this is Sports Update on EUTV.
So a busy week in sports, a busy weekend. We've had lots of teams here from Evangel go and get some pretty big wins out on the road.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the football team get a big win, really pushing their record. The volleyball team off to winning their last 3 matches, all in straight sets. It's been a good week.
It's been a good week. So let's get into this football game. The Crusaders defeated Mid-American Nazarene to rise to 2-0 in conference play and 7-1 overall. Evangel continued to excel on both offense and defense, recording a total of 411 offensive yards while holding the Pioneers to just 153 yards. The Crusaders scored on the first drive and continued the momentum for an additional 4 touchdowns, including 4 passing from Cameron Hardesty and 1 rushing from Ben Friend. Mid-America was forced to settle for a field goal late in the second quarter and scored a last-minute touchdown in the fourth. But the Crusaders were able to hold them. Final score, 34-10 Crusaders.
Crusader volleyball rattled off their 3rd consecutive straight set victory in Baldwin City, Kansas over Baker. The win pushes Evangel's conference mark to 9-7 and into a tie with Benedictine for 5th in the Heart of America Athletic Conference. It also moves them only 1 match behind Mid-American Nazarene for 4th, a team they beat during this win streak. Daisy Eklund recorded 13 kills and a .458 hitting percentage in the victory, and conference digs leader Aaron Russell assisted her by adding 22 digs to her total. The Crusaders will attempt to break that 5th place tie with Benedictine when they travel to Kansas for a match against the Ravens on Tuesday. After picking up their first conference win on the road against Clark, men's soccer suffered another loss Saturday at the hands of William Penn. The Statesmen won the match 2-0, and it drops the Crusaders to 2-14 on the year and 1-9 in conference play. William Penn got a combined 16 shots, and both goals from Eduardo Bonato and Kennedy DeVisca, while the defense held Evangel to just 12 shots with only 5 on goal. The Crusaders will now come home for a matchup with Benedictine on October 30th.
The Lady Crusaders continued to dominate offensively in their win against the William Penn Statesmen. Forward Bianca Bifford struck quickly, scoring a goal in the 5th minute while also setting up her teammate Ashley Ard to give the Lady Crusaders a 2-0 lead going into intermission. After intermission, Bifford quickly scored a hat trick in less than 10 minutes. While the Statesmen were able to get a goal off at the 51st minute mark, forward Amber Ellis sealed William Penn's fate with a goal at the 89th minute mark. Final score, 7-1 Lady Crusaders. Well, so some very big road wins this weekend for our Crusaders. We had that 7-1 win with the women's soccer team, and then also that big win for our football team.
Yeah, the women's soccer team just continues to roll. I'm fairly certain they only have 1 conference loss on the year.
1 conference loss, 2 ties, yeah.
And that was to Central Methodist, who really is probably one of the top teams in the nation. So they've played very well, and then the football team continues their march towards a potential conference championship because they're 2-0 in conference play, and they're in the top. They're ranked in the top 10 now.
And yeah, we're starting to turn our sights into hopefully some postseason play. I don't think Evangel has been in the postseason since around 2005-ish, and so that is something that's very exciting because our boys have been playing very well and very hard this season.
Yeah, they kind of got snubbed last year, so hopefully they make that last little push and get in this year.
For sure, for sure. Well, up next we will be interviewing a member of the volleyball team as they prepare for postseason play.
We'll be right back.
Art, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please, don't leave.
Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
We all have a need to experience life with others. To not be just another face in the crowd, but to have a small community we can call family. We need to receive individual guidance from the wise and be sharpened by those we live with from day to day. We treasure the traditions of those who have gone before us and form lasting friendships with those who cross our path, knowing that the skills, the memories, and the relationships we formed will journey with us, no matter where we go. Evangel University.
Open up your books to page 360.
Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Talking about inspirational quotes.
You gotta believe in yourself. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
I'm here with sophomore starting setter McKenna Miller of the Crusader volleyball team. Thank you, McKenna, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us what position you play?
I'm a setter.
So what does that mean for the people who don't know?
It basically means like you kind of run the floor like you're like the quarterback of a team, and you always are like the second contact of the ball.
So what particular strengths does it take to be a good setter?
You need to be a leader, and you need to be able just to call people off the ball, because a lot of like the players like to like take your ball, so you just need to be like a leader on the floor and like be loud.
And so which of your personal strengths do you feel like plays into this role as a setter?
I'm very scrappy, and I don't like anyone taking my balls, so I'll like pretty much like move anyone over that tries to take my ball.
So how do you think that your personal strengths play into the team's success?
This year, with like the team's success, I was from C of O last year, and at C of O I wasn't able to like play the position I wanted to. I had to be a DS there. And that kind of plays a role into like how I'm doing here, because I'm able to like be a bit better at my defense and like just my setting. So I'm able to like bring both setting and defense to the team this year.
That's great. And so I understand the team's doing very well. You're on a 3-game winning streak. What have you seen happen in these last few games, these last few matches that have really propelled the success?
We've had a lot of injuries this past couple weeks, and we've just like been able to say like we need to play for those girls and be very consistent, and that's what we've been able to do, and just like keep it on our high.
Great. And so how do you see this team progressing in the future? You're on this winning streak now. How do you see this winning streak continuing, and what do you see, I guess, towards the end of the regular season?
I think we'll play pretty good. We should win tomorrow. We play Benedictine. They beat us a couple weeks ago, and we're just hoping that we can beat them like this game, and then hopefully we'll get into postseason starting next week.
How's the team currently preparing to go into the postseason?
Same thing as consistency. We're just trying to play very consistent and just like take one game at a time.
And what do you think will be the hardest part of preparing for this postseason?
Maybe just like keeping our high and like trying to like keep that winning streak going and just like keep moving forward and hoping that we can win this next game and then win like next Saturday. So just keeping it going.
So how do you feel like Evangel's program differs from programs you've been a part of and also programs that you've played against?
This program, I feel we are very close. Like we are a very like close team and everything. And we have a lot of chemistry compared to like my other teams. Like I didn't feel like we were as close as this team, and I just really like the girls here.
What do you think plays into that chemistry?
We just like being on the or off the court together. Like our chemistry is very well, and like being on the court just like makes us trust each other more and be able to play better together.
Great. And so going into this postseason and going into this next chapter, will you think this chemistry be a major factor and how you guys play these other sports, or will it be more towards preparation that you do in practices and other games?
I think it's a little bit of chemistry, but more preparation per team, like how we need to play against each team and how we need to like be able to reach our goals for those.
What do you think would be the hardest matchup you see in this postseason?
Definitely Central Methodist or Grandview. They're both 1 and 2, and we've lost to both of them, but we could definitely play with both of them if we play our cards right.
That's great. That's great. Oh, so one last question. What do you think has changed in the first part of the season versus this last part of the season where you have, this going on this winning streak, hopefully extending it?
Well, we went on a losing streak for a couple of games, and I think now like the consistency is what's keeping us going with that. And at the beginning of the season, we still had injuries and everything, but we've just like been able to like push through them. And like this last couple of games have really helped us like been able to like keep that chemistry and that consistency together.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for being with us today. Coming up, we will be reviewing several college football games that happened this past week. Stay tuned.
Catch all the HD broadcast of Evangel Sports on EUTV through livestream.com. EUTV features weekly programs like Sports Update and Newswatch Today. You can also see award-winning student films from Evangel filmmakers. Evangel University Television broadcasts to Evangel dorms on channels 12 and 35-1. You can also find EUTV on Mediacom Channel 84 in Springfield. And now, EUTV is on livestream.com, broadcasting on the web 24 hours a day. So check it out. Go to livestream.com, enter EUTV in the search box, and click on the EU icon. EUTV, the home of edutainment.
We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
We all have a need to experience life with others, to not be just another face in the crowd, but to have a small community we can call family. We need to receive individual guidance from the wise and be sharpened by those we live with from day to day. We treasure the traditions of those who have gone before us and form lasting friendships with those who cross our path, knowing that the skills, the memories, and the relationships we formed will journey with us, no matter where we go. Evangel University.
The Oklahoma Sooners college football playoff hopes took a massive blow when the Kansas State Wildcats welcomed the then 5th-ranked Sooners to Manhattan, Kansas on Saturday. Heisman hopeful and former Alabama quarterback Jalen Hurts had a nice game, going 19 for 26 with 395 yards and a touchdown, while also rushing for 96 and 3 scores. However, the OU defense struggled, giving up 219 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. Quarterback Skylar Thompson passed for 213 yards but earned his money on the ground, rushing for 4 touchdowns in Kansas State's 48-41 thrilling upset victory.
After both of Kentucky's quarterbacks suffered injuries earlier in the season, the University of Kentucky turned to wide receiver Lynn Bowden Jr. on Saturday. Bowden led the Wildcats to a blowout victory over the Missouri Tigers in Lexington. Kentucky held Mizzou to 0 points in the first half while putting up a field goal and 3 touchdowns of their own. The Wildcats rushed for a total of 276 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Tigers were able to score 1 touchdown against the Wildcats against the Wildcat defense on a 74-yard pass from Tyler Beatty to Kelly Bryant. Final score, 29-7 Kentucky. Matt Moore took the field for the Kansas City Chiefs Sunday night in Patrick Mahomes' absence. Mahomes had dislocated his knee against the Indianapolis Colts a couple weeks ago and is expected to return to the Chiefs before their Week 12 bye. Andy Reid announced Moore as a starter during this period. Sunday night, Moore had an impressive outing, throwing for 267 yards and 2 touchdowns. The game was neck and neck until the Packers were able to carve out a 7-point lead after Aaron Rodgers threw a 67-yard touchdown pass to Aaron Jones. Final score, 31-24 Packers.
The 2019 World Series is headed back to H-Town after the Astros swept the 3-game road trip in Washington, D.C. The Nationals took the first 2 games in Houston as they were able to get to both Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander. But when the series shifted to the nation's capital, the Astros' bats and pitching came alive. Home runs by Robinson Chirinos in Games 3 and 4, along with an Alex Bregman Game 4 grand slam, propelled the Astros into a series tie through 4 games. Last night in Game 5, it was Yordan Alvarez, Carlos Correa, and George Springer who backed Garrett Cole, each hitting a 2-run blast in the Astros' 7-1 win. They will now have Justin Verlander pitching for the title in Game 6 on October 29th.
So lots of interesting and very important games that went on this last week.
Yeah, we've got some championships that are about to be decided, and really some championships that division titles in the mix, especially in professional football. The races are heating up.
But I thought Matt Moore did a good job in Patrick Mahomes' absence with his knee dislocation and all of that going on. I think he did a really good job being one of the oldest quarterbacks in the league to step up and really deliver a very good performance.
Yeah, he showed up and really went toe-for-toe with Aaron Rodgers, and you take out Aaron Jones out of that game, and really the game takes a completely different turn once you take him out of the contest.
For sure. And then going on with the World Series, we're starting to think, oh, the Nationals might be onto something here. But then after losing 3 straight to Houston, it's really up in the air for who can win this World Series.
What's interesting, though, is that if history repeats itself as it has in the past 5 games, the Nationals will win the World Series because the road team has won each of the first 5 games.
It's very, very interesting. Well, why don't we check out what's going on here for upcoming Crusader sports. Men's football will play at Missouri Valley Saturday, November 2nd.
The volleyball team will head to Atchison, Kansas on Tuesday to take on Benedictine at 7.
Men's soccer will also play Benedictine Wednesday, October 30th at 7:30 here at home. This is the last game of the regular season.
Women's soccer will also face off against Benedictine on Wednesday. They will play 2 hours earlier at 5 and finish up their regular season play at Coryell Field.
Men's basketball will start with Trinity Christian Saturday, November 2nd, and then continue against College of the Ozarks Tuesday, November 5th. They will travel for the first game, and the second game will be here at home.
Women's basketball will head off to play Mid-America Christian in Oklahoma City on November 1st before returning home for the rivalry match against College of the Ozarks on November 5th.
Well, that is very interesting coming up. A lot of matchups seemingly against Benedictine. We got some men's basketball games getting in the mix and some finishing up with the regular season for soccer.
Yeah, basketball getting to start off in a very early season matchup against probably Evangel's biggest rival in College of the Ozarks. Those will be fun to watch in the early season.
For sure. Well, that is all the time we have today for Sports Update. I'm Braden Parks.
And I'm Colin Hill. Be sure to join us next week as we bring you the latest in sports news. This has been Sports Update on EUTV.